Welcome to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals, experience, and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. And we believe all investments have merit, all investments have relevance, and all investments have their time and place depending on you, your objectives, and your goals. My name is Seth Cressman, and I'm joined here once again with John Ryder and Ben Brayshaw. We're all planners and partners with Brayshaw Financial Group. How are you guys today?
Good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
Seth, you are back from a big trip.
Yeah, I got a little something in the tank for you guys today. Can you feel it?
I'm hearing it. What do you got?
What's going on? What's going on?
I got nothing. I got blanked when I was out there, but I got some great exercise and I got some time with my family.
So what were you doing? Tell us what you were doing.
Climbing mountains, basically.
Okay.
Just like putting 10 miles on the legs every day, getting up at 3:30 in the morning, and
you are looking especially fit this morning, Seth, I must say. Especially fit.
Seth was elk hunting for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, so you had a gun with you the whole time, Seth, and did you feel bad for the elk, or did you give a pass, or what was going on?
I think I heard the elk shot back at him.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah, about as much as they were giving me was a mile. That's about as close as I got.
Nothing close, huh?
No, we didn't, and we stay with the same thing, which is we just have a really good time getting out there. It's time with friends, it's time with family, and some of those friends that have become family, and it's just gorgeous. If you ever get a chance to take a look at any of my Facebook posts, I'll have some pictures and stuff like that from where we are over in Baker City, just outside of Baker City in the Wallowas, and if you ever get a chance to visit that part of the country, it's just gorgeous.
Seth, was it cold out when you were hunting, or is it
I don't know what I mean. It's cold is kind of a relative term, depending if you're New England cold or
25
Oregon
degrees,
cold.
30 degrees.
Yeah. No, that's what it was in the morning, and then it got up to about 65, 70 degrees. So
good deal.
Nice, very nice. Glad the elk survived.
I like those elk. I like those elk.
Glad they made it.
Yeah,
we can send more hunters
wonderful.
out like Seth. More hunters.
I'll tell you what, though, Seth. I'd like to have a hunter around here that would kill some more of the deer. I'll tell you what, I'm seeing a lot of deer around here. I pulled into my driveway the other day, coming around the corner, and boom, just two deer like sitting there staring at me. They took off pretty fast, but they just looked at me for a bit. They're big old deer.
They were scared. They thought you had a Halloween costume on, John.
That's right. No, I didn't know Halloween costume, but they thought something was wrong with me. I don't know what it was. So
you weren't wearing your Elmer Fudd hat, were you?
Not that day. Not that day.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No.
We're glad you are listening to Money on Tap, and if you're looking to sit down with an advisor and start making some of the right steps towards your financial goals, we welcome the opportunity to do that with you. And you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us at Facebook at Money on Tap, and our website, yourmoneyontap.com. But here's a great one for you, folks. If you haven't gotten caught up to what's going on out there, it's called a podcast. You can go to your iTunes, you can go to your Stitcher, whatever your venue is, and you subscribe to Money on Tap. And that's one of the great ways that you can connect with us and hear some of the past episodes or current episodes that we've been working on, some of the concept pieces that we've rolled out. We have another one here for you today. I think that's going to be a lot of fun when we get into it. But on today's show, we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about something that's very important, and that is we're going to make sure that you know where your financial assets are going after you're no longer here. And, I know we've talked about this in the past, but today we're going to talk about it again, and we're going to talk about it from a different perspective, and the estate planning blunders, what not to do, and how you can avoid making some of these simple, common mistakes that people make when it comes to their money. And, there's a lot of people out there that have not done a great job of keeping track of who gets their money if they pass away.
So, Seth, I think the operative word here is not if they pass away, but when they pass away.
No, I'm sticking with if in my case.
Okay. But Seth, you're right. There are a lot of people out there who haven't done a good job making sure that their assets are going to go where they want them to go. So today, we're going to talk about the importance of taking care of basic things that could save you money, or perhaps I should say, save your money from going to the wrong person when you pass away.
Yeah, I've seen some really crazy stuff in the estate world. From the wrong people getting it to the right people getting it to the wrong ways of getting it, and not the wishings of the beneficiaries. I think what it ends up coming down to is, people either don't understand the complexities of it, they don't take the advice of the people that are giving it to them, or they choose to do something completely not in line with what everyone expects them to be doing or want them to do.
Some people rush through it. I've seen some people that just will say, we'll talk more about this later, but they'll say, hey, yeah, just put my estate down. That's fine. And they haven't really thought about, well, there's some ramifications for doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And but hey, before we get into that wonderful story, we have a new segment we're going to introduce today.
Excellent.
Money in the news. Money in the news. So, Seth, tell me what money in the news is.
Well, we're working on it. It's a work in progress, and if you hold on just a second, be patient. Wait. There it is. All right. Yes. So what we want to do each week is talk about a story we found somewhere in the media that concerns money, for the most part. No guarantees there. Sometimes we might find something that we just think's completely unrelated, and we want to talk about it anyways. But the segment may fit one or more different categories, and it may be entertaining, maybe interesting, maybe funny, it may be sad, and it may even be a little instructional. So but that's what we're going to do with this money in the news, and could be your money, it could be your family money, and it could be your neighbor's money. I'm not sure about that one money. There. We might need to get rid of that one, but it could be. Anyways, we're going to get into some of these concept pieces and some of these things that we come across. But here's number one for you today: is Amazon threat causes a shakeout in the healthcare industry. Did you guys catch that?
The Amazon monster doesn't stop, does it? No. Just a recent headline on that. Amazon's getting into the healthcare business.
Well, not just healthcare, but pharmaceuticals, it appears.
Sure.
Yep.
A segment of the healthcare business.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer now that you think about it. But 12... Amazon is now approved in, you said 12 states, John, you were telling me?
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Just on Thursday, they got approved for 12. They got their pharmacy wholesaler licenses approved in a dozen states. And it's interesting what it did to the competition in that area. Kind of a steep sell-off with many of those different companies that are now having to compete against a giant.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it makes all the sense in the world, right? I mean, Amazon is in the delivery business. I just really, what I think really perplexes me, and I think ultimately there's probably someone in Amazon listening to our conversation at some point saying, hey, are they going to figure out what our end game is, right? They bought out Whole Foods. They're buying, they're getting into the pharmaceutical space. There's some trajectory, hypothesis we could probably make out of this that I think, there's probably an end game that is very strategic here in the competition space. I've actually heard that Amazon has been competitively purchasing a lot of old industrial warehouse space near big cities for faster delivery processes, and how Amazon uses all of these electronic methods to figure out what you're going to buy next to have it in the closest warehouse for when you're ready to buy it.
Crazy.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I saw a show on that. It was unbelievable.
It is the artificial intelligence that they have around, predicting our nature and being ready and prepared for us. It unbelievable. But I must not be very predictable, because it seems like every time I order, it's like the 5 to 7 day later delivery.
You don't have drone delivery out there in Oregon, Seth, do you? No drone delivery.
No, not yet. But I did see
I'd like to do a drone delivery to North Korea. Let's.
Uh-oh, Ben's waging war on North Korea.
Went there. Oh my gosh. So, hey, I just want them to deliver me my next house. I'm like, get it here, in 5 days. Will you please?
No. I would be like, listen, I signed up for Prime, 2 days. 2 days, no delivery costs. No, but I mean, think about the trajectory opportunity. This is where projecting out a company, its direction, who it's going to affect, how it's going to affect. I mean, this is what organizations are doing every day, from long and shorting stocks to all sorts of crazy stuff that people are evaluating. But I think when you look at a company like Amazon, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what other spaces are they going to compete in? Because it's not just going to be pharmacy, right? Because growth and expansion is definitely where Amazon's going. And the more they can justify that expansion, the more markets they can touch to justify all the warehouse space they're going to buy and all those different pieces, right? I mean, what's the next thing that we order somewhere that we're going to get now from Amazon?
Well, it may be your meds, because I find it
John,
fascinating.
we got to get you a lot of those. Let's get you as many meds as he'll send.
But I find it fascinating how fast Amazon has not even begun to sell prescriptions. They don't even necessarily have approval. Well, they have approval in 12 states, but the competition. This was just yesterday on 10/30 of 2017. McKesson, a competitor, slid 5.2% at 4 p.m. in New York, while AmerisourceBergen shares fell 4.2% and Express Scripts sank 3.7% following the report on Amazon state licenses that they're applying for.
Just the news that they got the
Just
license.
the news. Yeah.
Wow.
It's scary.
But Amazon declines to comment about inquiries regarding that.
But the thing is that these aren't going to put, this is going to affect and potentially put some companies out of business. But what was it last year? It still was under 20% of, Christmas sales were online. You think about it and how much stuff we bought online, but I still went to the store and bought probably 60 to 80% of my gifts. I shopped Amazon, I shopped the store. Hey, there it is. It's on sale. I'll grab that there. So it's interesting that the majority of purchasing is not online yet. People think it is, but it's not there yet. I think it's also interesting that Amazon has gotten into a space with Whole Foods where what do people almost exclusively do? I bet you, I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking that the purchase of food online is probably less than 1% or 2%, right? We all go to the grocery store.
Sure. You want it fresh, yeah. You want it there.
You want it right.
But what you're talking about, Ben, with having the storehouses and that type of thing, the warehouses very, very close by, it may be a reality that people are going to start more and more buying things
even
on a local basis from Amazon.
Well, I know even my wife has done the order online and go pick it up the next day. Mm-hmm. And the grocery store does the shopping for you. So I don't see why that's not going to – but she's still going to the store. She's still buying from the store. And
she's tech savvy, and there's a lot of people out there that have no interest in doing that.
I have no problem with, ordering things that I don't know, just say like a canned good, for instance. But when it comes to produce, there's just something about that or – something over the meat counter or anything like that. I just, for some reason, I've done it. It's still weird for me.
Have you guys ever
have somebody else pick out my produce?
Have you guys ever ordered those strawberries? You can order like chocolate covered strawberries, and you get them the next day. They send it refrigerated. There's a freezer pack in there. It's amazing how good they come out. I mean, it's amazing to me.
I'm surprised too. But I think this is something that we're going to probably, for convenience, adjust to as a nation what the quality is, and you're probably just going to say, hey, listen, the bananas you sent me are bad, and they'll just give you credit on it.
Yeah.
It'll probably be an easier no return policy. Just okay, we'll give you credit on that, and you get whatever number a year before they start questioning you.
I mean, you could practically never leave your house if you didn't want to. It's amazing.
Well, I just think that the one area that they probably see there's only upside potential is the online ordering of food, because that is the one area that is really not seen a lot of growth from what I can tell from little research I've done. It's when you want to buy a hard good, like if you want to buy a phone or a TV or a this or a that, it's like, oh yeah, well, I like this TV and I like what it does, and if it comes broken, I'll just send it back. And but now, like, to think about, and like you're saying, Seth, I could buy cereal, I could buy things that aren't going to perish.
I don't know if you guys know, but in 2015, Amazon launched Amazon Business, and they have seen, they're selling everything from tractor parts to latex gloves to file folders and that type of thing. I know a lot of the ordering we do around the office. It used to be we'd go and send someone to the store and go to Staples and pick stuff up. Now it's online, and we're picking that stuff up, or it's being sent to us the next day. But Amazon Business right now, is doing $889 billion a year. They expect it to be $1.2 trillion by 2021. So they're seeing just a big growth with that. I can understand that. It's just gone are the days where we're just sending someone in a shopping cart and getting stuff, just having it shipped.
You know, one last thing on that topic, I did actually try their pantry. I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of the daily usable toilet paper, laundry soap, all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't quite figure out our run rate on some of those things. So I wound up having, 3 months worth of vitamins that was coming to me with some regularity, and I couldn't anyway. So I stopped doing that. But hey, we're going to move on. Here is the next article that we took a look at, and it's here's how much the average 50-something American has saved for retirement.
Is it a lot, Seth?
Well, we'll talk about that in just 1 minute. We're going to take a quick break here at Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is John Ryder, a partner with Brayshaw Financial Group and one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day, and planning a successful retirement today is more challenging than ever, with a roller coaster stock market, political and economic uncertainty, and so many unknowns when it comes to the escalating costs of healthcare. Let us show you how we utilize the 3D method of investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Using our experience, let us help you plan for a successful retirement. Now is the right time to start getting help. Give us a call at Brayshaw Financial Group at 855-226-8551. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, we have offices across the country. We would love the opportunity to meet with you. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with us, and we welcome you to our offices. Call 855-226-8551 today.
And now back to Money on Tap as we continue with our special feature, Money in the News.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us out there at any of the podcast venues. And if you subscribe to us, we appreciate it. We love our listeners out there. One of the ways that we can connect with you. Today, we are talking about a really interesting topic we're going to get into in a little bit, but we're still in a segment called In the News. And we're going to talk about the next article, which is here's how much the average 50-something American has saved for retirement. Any guesses out there?
My guess is the answer would be not enough.
That was genius. That was genius, John.
Genius.
Hey, let's just move on to the next article. John's to solve the world's crisis.
Patented right there. Not enough.
You know what you just
else
reminded
use
me
it.
of?
It's
Like
fine.
there's the answer every time I was in Vacation Bible School, right? Does anybody have the answer? Raise your hand. Jesus? Yes.
Jesus is the answer.
Jesus
For
is
sure.
the answer. You know what? You are right. It is not enough. On average, between 50 and 55, the average savings balance is $124,831. And it goes up a little bit, as it probably should for 56 and 61. The number comes in a bit higher at 163,577. And so you have to realize that this is an average. And so there's going to be the people that are in the super savers out there that are helping to bring that number up, but there's going to be a vast majority in there that are unfortunately not able to put away anything more than whatever they have in those numbers.
So I'm going to round these numbers for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So 125,000 or 160,000 between 50 and 60 years old.
Yeah.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. That's not going to retire you, and that's only going to bankrupt our country more.
Well, think about that. So if we have 125,000 saved, if you're getting 10% a year off your investments, if you did, that would be $12,500 a year you could get.
That's
However,
$1,000
let's say
a
you
month.
did 5%.
So break that down into numbers people understand.
Yeah.
So that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
If you're getting a 10% return, which is completely unreasonable to expect,
Completely.
to have a lifetime expectancy, especially with what's happened in the market, $1,000 a month pension on top of everything.
Let's say we did half that.
And-
Let's
and
say we
let-
did 5%.
And Social Security runs out of money in 2034.
So some concerns there when it comes
Yeah.
to savings.
It's interesting because there's so many things going on inside our country, our government, our financial scenarios, the debt, the the obligations our country has to
Pension
us as
issues,
Americans,
yeah.
pension issues to the different corporations and so forth. And what's really happening is the onus is being put on you, the listener today, about your retirement. At the end of the day, there's so much uncertainty about so many things. At the end of the day, what you have is really what you can count on, because you just don't know what you're going to get from any of those different variables. That's really the gamble. And we hope and we pray that these things will be taken care of, in all those different parts that, hey, listen, the government's going to fulfill their numbers and so forth. But that's a big deal.
Ben, in the past, I know you've always talked about, and you say it often, but there's two things you can change. You can change your income and you can change your expenses. So maybe it's going out and getting a second job. Maybe it's cutting back on that cable bill, cutting back on those things that you don't need so that you can take care of yourself later on in retirement.
Yeah, people live in a lot of things that they think they need and they don't.
Yeah.
Now, there are things that you do need, and you have to evaluate that, and you have to evaluate what you want and don't want, and what you need and what you don't need. And if you've got $125,000 and you're sitting there and you say, hey, I'm 50 years old, you're behind the 8 ball.
And I will say, Ben, too, there's a lot of people out there that have different things that they don't realize. I remember I was part of the elder board where we'd help out people in the church that needed help when it came to their finances. And so I was assigned to this one guy. I went to go visit him in his apartment, and he had on his counter it's like a NASCAR type of steering wheel type thing. I said, well, what's that? He said, well, that came from Comcast. I said, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And so he was just talking to me about his expenses, and he says, well, hey, it's kind of an expensive package. And again, this guy was applying for help from the church. He said, it's really kind of an expensive package. It cost me $250, but it gives me total NASCAR. I can have NASCAR 24 hours a day if I want it. Then there's different games associated with it that I can play. And all I could think was, that's a $250 a month cable bill, but you're asking for help for other people to help you. But that was a guy that just didn't have it together as far as taking a look at what's important and what's not.
Yeah, and that is a problem. And the thing that what I found, so we talk about somebody who has $125,000 saved as a 50-year-old. People have kids older now, right? So they're having children at their, late 20s, early 30s, even into their 40s, right? So somebody who's 60 years old might have somebody who might have a child that's turning 18 or 20 going into college. So they're still in the spending. They're not even ramping up to save for retirement, right? So we're talking about kind of the previous generation who at 50 some odd years old, their kids are kind of finishing up college because they had kids maybe in the mid-20s, right? In their mid-20s, and so now they're 50 and they're, I'm going to ramp up for my savings. That's what they're talking about in this article. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that people are having children older and older and older and older, and they're feeling like they're expected to pay for college, and that's fine if that's something you feel you need to do, but at the end of the day, that's still not saving for retirement. So that's only pushing off their ability to retire longer and their dependency on the fulfillment of things like Social Security more and more desperately that they work in their favor.
Good points, you guys. I think we're going to move on to our third article, and actually the thing I like about this article is that it's going to bring us into our topic today. Article is Going for Broke. And many pro athletes are still struggling with finances. And before we get into that, I'm just going to say that really the topic that we're working through, the concept that we're working through today is a little fun for us. It's estate planning. We always love doing this. Brayshaw Financial Group, but it's estate planning blunders. And I think, it's could be noted that, wisdom can come through observing what others have done before us and some of the mistakes that have gone before us. And we're going to learn a little bit here through, some people that we would probably look up to and say, wow, what an amazing life they have. How much that must to have an income like that would be incredible. But they still are human, making a lot of these mistakes through these processes.
Yeah, all these are names that most people recognize. Now, if sports is not your thing and you like quilting and you like basket weaving or knitting, this may not be exciting for you, but this is kind of an interesting
John,
topic.
I'm going to stop you there. You got all three of mine.
Hey, yes, I thought I would. But I'm going to get some of yours, though, for sports. So we've all heard of Mike Tyson. We've heard of Allen Iverson, Diego Maradona, soccer player. Ben, I know you've probably taught him a few things over the years with your soccer prowess. Terrell Owens. So 4 major athletes, 4 major sports. An estimated $600 million of earnings lost. And an article came out in Sports Illustrated that talks about NBA players. 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of retiring from the game.
60%.
60%. A new study by the National Bureau of Economic Research reports that nearly 16% of NFL players drafted between 1996 and 2003 declared bankruptcy within 12 years of retirement. So
Wow.
there are certainly athletes that are in financial distress in all leagues, in all cities. I remember Chicago. I remember my wife being a Chicago Bears fan because she spent a lot of time in Chicago. Her family was from that area. And there's a guy named William the Refrigerator Perry. Does anyone remember that guy?
Oh,
I mean, he was part of the Super Bowl shuffle,
the fridge.
when they won the Super Bowl back in the 80s. And but this guy, he made a lot of money. Probably not as much money as they're making now. But he was actually, when he retired, he was broke. He was bankrupt. And he was actually having to work on a brick crew, going out and it was a mason and just working on different commercial jobs. But here's another one. Former Diamondbacks pitcher Livian Hernandez, he filed for bankruptcy in July after making $53 million over 17 seasons. Pro golfer Billy Mayfair lost many of the millions he made following a difficult divorce and custody battle. There was a short-time Diamondbacks manager Wally Backman, after an accomplished playing career, was sentenced in 2012 on charges of bankruptcy fraud, concealment of assets, and money laundering. Even Mike Tyson, we've all heard of Mike Tyson, had some issues as well. But how does this happen? How does it happen when you're making $50 million and all of a sudden you wake up and you have no money left?
Well, they haven't been taught any financial stewardship, or they're living, significantly above their means in the early years, and then they don't realize that that's just, you have to average that over a lifetime. If you work 40 years, you make $1 million a year. That's $40 million bucks. So,
Well, I would wonder about how, like, if you were to take these statistics and just say, okay, so if you have a job, a high income, or just a job, what are the statistics if you get laid off after getting let go from your job? Now, most of us have those, like, some kind of an income that we've trained ourselves towards, and that will translate to some other position that we get rehired at, somewhere in this ballpark of whatever we were doing before. So those numbers don't necessarily translate, but I'd be curious to find what some of those numbers, the bankruptcy, 16% bankruptcy on average after somebody's retired from the NBA. If people, after they lose their job, if there's a 16% bankruptcy rate out there for people that have, lost their job. Because most of us are going to live up to whatever our income is.
There's, I think, a lot to be said too about. There's education out there. There's financial education out there. In fact, Rudy Carpenter, who is an NFL quarterback, he was saying, "Hey, there is resources out there." But he said he said this. He said, "I would say on the 2 NFL teams I was on for those 3 years, there's probably 30 meetings or so for financial education." He said maybe 4 or 5 guys from the entire 80-person lineup would show up, and so they were offering these things. He also pointed out that there's an NFL 401k program that allows large contributions that the league will match. He said many players don't take advantage of it because of the lack of trust and education, and many aren't educated early enough about the financial world, and it causes distrust with the system. Right.
No, it's a huge deal. What's interesting is you look at some of these people who have gone broke, like Fridge, and I have some respect for somebody who will actually just say, "I'm going to go out and get a job."
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I failed this here, but I've got enough, because that's a big pride issue, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're this big star in this one world, and you go out, and that shows a lot of integrity on his part. I would appreciate that a lot, actually.
And I think too,
nothing wrong with just doing work.
Yeah, in today's millennial world, you can't find it if it's not the job making the money. They're not interested. Like, I'll live off mom and dad.
Yeah, so
completely honorable.
I'm totally with you when it comes to getting the job. Now, there's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of guys that have been in pro baseball, pro golf, that in pro basketball as well, that have gotten involved in giving financial advice, that type of thing. And there's a lot of guys that have kind of taken shortcuts, and there's been Ponzi schemes. You'll see here and there. We'll see different things about this pro baseball player got a lot of his teammates to contribute to this investment idea, and then it turns out that it was a fraud. So when you're going to work hard, it's just sad when it comes down to that.
Yeah. One of the other statistics there that I think may lend a little bit to this is that after NBA players retire, there's an average of 87% divorce rate.
That's got to kill a portfolio too, right?
Yeah, and that's so sad. I think that is really sad to see something like that, and who knows what all the reasons are around that. But you know what? We're going to take a quick break before we come back with the rest of our show here at Money on Tap. We're glad you're listening today. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com.
Ben, John, and Seth explain why it's important for the investor to beware, even when it sounds legitimate, which was the case with Bernie Madoff and the now well-known Ponzi schemes. That's today on our Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, as Ben begins by describing what the fraudulent claim looks like.
Someone's taking your money in, showing you a potential value to your assets in which they are not actually true.
And also, they're saying, hypothetically, we can get you a 15% rate of return guaranteed on a regular basis, and maybe they're going to show you a certificate or something like that.
Yeah, and that's what Bernie Madoff was doing, but he was actually, we don't make the big returns. We just do 8%. And, the banks, everyone was buying into this. He's like, we're not the big, hedge funds. We just do a steady.
So he was selling to investment companies. He was selling to everyone, not your next door neighbor, but he was selling to everyone.
Yeah, big banks, everybody. Yeah. And, a lot of people don't realize that he helped write a lot of, the laws that we actually work under in some capacities in the securities world. So it's interesting that he was involved on that end and knew the fraud, how to do it. The one thing I find about Ponzi schemes is that in a positive market, it's easier to hide.
As returns are, everything's doing well. And
right. It was in the big crashes that Ponzi schemes show their face.
When everything's going well, nobody's paying that close of attention, right? But when they start to see a market correction and investors start to go to, where do I have my money and how do I safeguard some of my money, and start divesting and taking some of that money off the table and putting it into savings accounts or whatever they think is more secure possibly. But anyways, when it starts to unwind, well, then that's when it exposes the Ponzi schemes, because typically the Ponzi schemes are relying on an influx of people putting more money into the program. When it starts to go away, then they have no way of having liquidity. And so they get exposed.
Thanks for joining us for this Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, with great tips from the pros in three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Now here's more Money on Tap with Seth, Ben, and John.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap. If you're looking to sit down with an advisor and start making some of the right steps towards your financial goals, we welcome the opportunity to do that with you. And you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. We're also out there in any of the podcast venues. We appreciate the subscriptions and the likes on Facebook. And if you have an idea or a concept or something that you would like us to talk about on Money on Tap, we welcome the opportunity to do that with you. And just for emailing us that idea, we've got a hat, we've got a T-shirt, your pick on either one of those. But we just appreciate the audience. We appreciate you. We love engaging with you, and it's just a lot of fun for us here to have an opportunity to do some educating out there and to add, to kind of throw our hat in the ring and of what it is that our perspective is around some of these issues that we come across with quite a bit of regularity, especially at Brayshaw Financial Group, where we're working to really help our clients to attain their goals and to work through some of these ideas, to work through some of the steps that they need to take to get where they are looking to go. What we're talking about today is estate planning blunders. And we're going to bring up some of the big ones here that we see with regularity of what to avoid in your estate or doing some of the planning.
There's the article we want to bring attention to is one from the New York Post, Seth. It's entitled "Pension Pickle: Broke Widower Loses $1 Million to In-Law."
This is horrendous.
It's funny, but it's not funny. Here's what it says. It says a Brooklyn man says he was left destitute when his late wife's pension, worth nearly $1 million, was awarded to his sister-in-law on a technicality, and he is hoping the state's highest court will hear his case. "I lost the best thing that ever happened to me," said Bruce Friedman, 61, of his late wife Ann. "I had no idea there's a question I wasn't the beneficiary." The Friedmans were happily married for nearly 20 years when Ann, a former city school principal, died suddenly of a massive heart attack in September. Friedman said he never doubted he'd be entitled to the lump sum payout of $900,000 because the teacher's retirement system sent out annual statements that indicated his wife had named no beneficiary. That would make him, as her closest relative, the beneficiary. But after she died, officials found a form which had been filled out 27 years ago, 4 years before the couple met on a 1978 blind date. It indicated Ann's mother, uncle, and sister should collect. So Ann's mother and uncle had died, so the money was awarded to the sister. And Friedman, right now, he is not happy. He's complaining that she won't give him a cent. He says, I think Ann would just be shocked, said Friedman, adding that he's just making ends meet. And he's very, very upset by this. But interesting, that was done 4 years before he was married. He always just assumed that he was the beneficiary. Now, if he had sat down with a financial planner or sat down with the teacher's board just to review and they had gone over that, that would be a whole thing that would not have to be tied up in the courts.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things. It's just like people don't realize what people do, and at the end of the day, right? I mean, what's the company going to say or do or think? They're going to say this is the only sheet of paper we've got signed.
Yep, she had signed it.
You make somebody else tell me to do it differently.
In fact, the Manhattan Supreme Court ruling held that Ann's intention of making her husband the beneficiary could not be assumed, and that the paperwork on file was clear, said Joseph Harbison of the Corporation Counsel's Office, which is representing the retirement system. We feel we're complying with the law as it stands. So the Supreme Court decision was upheld by the appellate division in December. Friedman said he wants to go to the Court of Appeals because all I know is it's my last chance. And his lawyer described last month's decision as sobering and added he had some advice for all couples out there. Make sure you update your pension beneficiary forms. If you don't, your spouse and family may wind up with nothing. So very sobering for someone that thought he had some money coming to him and now has nothing and is trying to figure out how to buy groceries every week.
I think this is the thing when it comes to the beneficiary world and handling all sorts of different pieces that we do. At the end of the day, you don't honestly know what people are thinking in the background. Like I've had people where they've made grandchildren beneficiaries, made children at different percentage beneficiaries.
That can create big problems.
Oh my gosh. In the end of the day, I mean, it's like we're the ones that have to kind of deal with those pieces. I've never made an assumption on a second marriage. When people come in and say, like, here's your beneficiary form, please fill it out. That's how I always do it because I don't even want to make any assumptions.
It needs to be their choice.
It needs to be their choice. And I've had people go completely against, the attorney's direction. I think I've just, for whatever reason, whatever their story is, they're not sharing it. They're just doing what they do. And that's
their prerogative.
That's their prerogative, and it's their
you
right.
Might not
it's their
agree
money.
with it.
Yeah. I've told people like this isn't the best thing, and I be like, hey, I'm not practicing law, but you should talk to so and so, or the so and so. It's people have a reason, and they don't necessarily even want to share why.
Ben, I had a client who had a child that had some issues with drug addictions and all that, and so they had 3 kids, and they wanted to have the estate go 40%, 40%, and 20%. And I get it. That could create some huge problems later on. If the kid comes out of the drug addiction problems and there's no issues anymore, it could create some major problems. But you know what? When it comes down to that, they're going to make their choice. And I did actually recommend that this client go talk with an estate planning attorney to make some kind of a trust in place so that it wouldn't just boil down to those strict beneficiary designations. And so there could be some more verbiage added to the desire of what this client wanted to have happen, meaning that if the client's daughter was sober, that they would be able to have full access.
Well, I've had people, sorry, Seth, but I've had people where they've said, hey, listen, I've already done so much for XYZ child.
Yeah.
They
got theirs already.
They'll understand.
Yeah.
They don't, but they believe them to understand. Be like, well, that's what's fair. I already gave them this ahead of advance, and they're, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is a lot of the time with addiction and what that can do in a family, trying to be sensitive around that issue, it can have a significant financial drag in assets to try to get the right care in place and try to work through those issues and get that child back on their feet or going in a direction where they're going to be okay. And so that, could certainly be a percentage of those assets that people are looking at thinking, well, I've already kind of put that or used that part of our estate towards helping them. And people do those in different ways. People, we see parents, lending money for purchasing first homes or lending money for business opportunities and getting, kids going on whatever their business venture is, or, some of those kind of things. But I think the thing that's most I take away from this is that we have a couple of people that are obviously very intelligent in their understanding and their capacity to understand the potential of, what a beneficiary or naming a beneficiary could mean, and it just didn't get done. It's a conversation that just clearly didn't happen. His interpretation was, I saw the statement, but that didn't mean that they had a conversation. And in everybody's home, I think finances work differently, but it is important to at least have conversations and understanding so that you can take the step that you really intend to have taken and have that understanding around that. But we definitely see that a lot with, just missed opportunities.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you actually break down what people do and what they want out of their estate, we can only advise. We can only give them our opinion. We can only say this is what but it's amazing what people think we have some sort of power or control, like the beneficiary say, well, why didn't you do this? Or why isn't it this way? But like, I can't even tell you, other than I handle the management of their assets. They tell me how they want it owned. They tell me how they want the beneficiaries. We advise people to do transfers on death, joint tenants with rights to survivorship documents, or whatever. We tell people the best we possibly can, and we tell them to get legal advice around it.
Yeah, we are not estate planners, and we often tell people that we're not estate planners. We're not licensed in that way. So that's why we'll often recommend that they go talk to an estate planning attorney to make sure that they're making the proper choices, because those choices they make can make a huge difference for their loved ones later on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Seth, one of the articles that we were going to talk about today, it's just what we're talking about. It's entitled IRA Beneficiary Errors That Can Hurt Your Loved Ones. And one of the primary beneficiary errors that people make, we're going to use a guy named George, okay? So we're going to protect all the names here. But there's a investment advisor out of Texas. His name is David Bourne. And he says, George, name changed to protect the guilty, was in a big hurry when he filled out his IRA beneficiary form. So he wrote estate instead of his children's names and social security numbers. Money that is left to beneficiaries doesn't go through probate. So it actually bypasses probate. So the government gets its fair share of taxes and the money is distributed correctly after death. But it can take a year, sometimes longer, to settle an estate this way. So much better to have named beneficiaries on there where you actually say, I want it to go to my daughter, Kim. I want it to go to my son, Jim. And put the full name and put the social security number and put the birth date there. But when you put beneficiary as estate on there, that can really create a problem later on.
I've had things where attorneys have told us that they're going to do certain things, and they're advising their clients to make the beneficiaries a certain way. Now, I had this happen a year or two ago, maybe a little bit longer ago, where they did an IRA trust.
Okay.
I never had heard of anything, and they said that basically that they would be able to do the trust, and they would actually be able to stretch out the beneficiary IRA distributions through this trust. I said to the client, I said, listen, I know nothing about this. This isn't what I do, and if that's what you want to do and you were advised, it's your prerogative. I'm telling you that, it's not something I've ever seen before, and so forth. And then I read some articles that there was some movement in this direction, and then I actually read another article that it hadn't been challenged yet at the IRS level, whether it works or not. And I informed the client of that, and they move forward according to however they move forward. I don't even remember. But it's interesting that there's so many different things out there that attorneys are doing and practicing and how they're handling it in the estate world. And you know what my concern is? These people are sometimes 50, 60, 70 years old, right? And the attorney might be 50, 60, 70 years old too. And
it could create a problem.
Right? And all of a sudden, they're out of the business. They don't care. Great idea.
We just had a client come in last week, and this client had an estate planning attorney, and he was elderly, and he was going to help them kind of with their nursing home issues if something were to happen. The guy wasn't too interested in looking at any kind of asset protection, and as a result, the guy said, "Hey, just come to me when you have any of these issues." And I was talking to the clients about their attorney, and the attorney actually passed away. He was 76 years old. And now they're kind of scrambling, well, what do we do now? Because they didn't have any kind of coverage put in place.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're talking about here is, having a direction for the assets once you pass away, and avoiding miscommunication and avoiding some of these issues. And one of the most common ones that we come across is probate, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about here in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break at Money on Tap. We'll be right back. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com.
Hi, my name is Seth Crustman, partner with Brayshaw Financial Group and one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. One of the biggest concerns and largest expenses people face today is taxes. Without thoughtful planning, taxes can destroy future retirement dollars, eliminating the possibility of a timely retirement or dreams of what you want retirement to look like. If you're like most people, you're getting closer and closer to retirement, and you may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. Will my income be enough? Will rising taxes force me to give up my dreams? How does inflation factor into all of this? These are real concerns, and you're not alone. Putting a plan around your financial future is what we do. If you have questions when it comes to your financial security, and if you're looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group, 855-226-8551. It's time for you to start getting answers to your questions. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, Brayshaw Financial has offices across the country. We'd love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with us. Call us at 855-226-8551. 855-226-8551.
Find out more about three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning with Ben Brayshaw, Seth Crustman, and John Ryder on their weekly radio program, Money on Tap. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group are independent of SagePoint Financial.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us at Facebook at Money on Tap. We appreciate all the likes. We appreciate all the listens. And one of the joys that we get out of doing this at Brayshaw Financial Group is just interacting with our audience. And we appreciate you giving us an opportunity to do that by either sending us show ideas where we get a chance to give you a hat or a T-shirt from Money on Tap for, a concept piece that you'd like us to talk about, or just going on and subscribing to our podcasts. That's another way we just appreciate you guys out there listening. And we're talking about estate planning blunders, and I just mentioned that we're going to talk
Seth,
about
can I break into that real quick and just say,
Yep.
It's amazing that we've had thousands upon thousands of listens to our podcast. I mean, that's just phenomenal. To me, I was looking
away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know what I think is more
vendor.
amazing is that you have personally handwritten thank you cards to each and every one of those people. I don't know how you do
He's
that.
very good.
It's
He's
amazing.
up early in the morning. He's up late at night.
I wish I had some addresses. No, but I think that's just amazing when you think about the volume of people that are listening and benefiting from that. And we hope you're enjoying the show, and that's great. So sorry, Seth.
We hope you make you laugh sometimes, make you cry sometimes.
We did order all the meds for John.
Yes,
all the meds.
are
Amazon's been wonderful.
Oh my gosh, that was more fun than talking about avoiding probate by far. So probate. Not a whole lot of people even understand like what happens to your assets after you pass away, or even decisions for your children if you're a young family. And that's one of the things that having a will in place and having a decision around your assets can help with. I mean, basically just what's going to happen after you pass away, and there's trusts that can be put in place to give direction. But probate being one of the most costly ways that we see assets just eaten up through court systems. Most states have mandatory fees around that. For instance, California was $13,000. I don't know if that's what it still is, but that's a chunk of unnecessary fees that can weight down all of. I mean, just imagine, what would you say right now if we just said, hey, $13,000 gone from your assets because you didn't put into place something
Seth,
when you
that's exactly what happened on our example of George.
Yep.
He put estate down. He passed away. His children, who split the estate, watched as their money kind of dwindled and kind of churned through probate. So probate's handled differently in different states, but for California, it's the state that sets a statutory fee. His heirs paid a total of $13,000 in legal fees on the $500,000 IRA they split. It can really eat up the inheritance very, very quickly.
You know, we're all taking the assumption, or at least people, the beneficiary side always takes the assumption of mom and dad would have wanted to do the absolute very best that we got every penny. And how many times do you meet people and they say to you, I don't care. I'm not going to be around. Whatever they get, they get. Yeah. However they get it, they get it. I can't tell you. I would say that's probably 50% of the time that people walk through. Listen, put them down as a beneficiary. If it works out, works out. Because a lot of people, like we talked about earlier, they're 50 years old. They have $125,000,
yep.
right? They ramp up. They're 50 to 60. They're putting away every penny they possibly can. They're up to $500,000 or $750,000 between that and some other stuff. And they sell their house. They use some of the gains for retirement. They're ramping up, but they don't believe that they're going to have any money left over. Their attitude is I'm probably going to use up all my money.
Yeah.
And the truth is that statistically, you know, the market does perform above that kind of theoretical 3 to 5% distribution we were talking about earlier, and they actually do okay. They do perform, and they do make some money, or they do preserve the asset. Surprisingly, to their shock, that actually happened, and they pass away. But they say at the table, they're like, "Listen, I'm probably going to spend all this money down." Put my kids down, or just put the estate or whatever, and be like, listen, that's not probably the best thing for you to do, is as far as I can really go, and say, get an attorney.
Yes.
This is probably not the ideal option for you. And then the beneficiary comes and says, hey, I wish should have been this way, or it should have been that way. And the truth is like, we don't have that control.
Ben, you're exactly right. Let me go on further, and Seth, you can see it there as well too. George here again. He also paid another price for his father's haste in just putting down estate. Many times we look at stretching out an IRA over the years, but when there isn't a named beneficiary, the beneficiaries are required to start pulling money out of it within 5 years. So they can't stretch it out and allow it to grow tax-free until their own retirement age, sacrificing what could be thousands of dollars. Many times we're telling people, hey, if you don't need the money now, let's see if we can stretch that IRA out over time so you don't have to be forced to pay taxes. So it says here in the article, being forced to take the money over 5 years can really eat up an inheritance. For instance, if someone had to take withdrawals of 20% each year over 5 years to deplete $100,000 in assets, they would owe $5,000 a year, and they'd lose the tax shelter.
So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of sum up what we have for some things for you to think about. Just a couple bullet points here. And there's 4 of them. Really, what you want to do is just take time to name a primary and secondary beneficiary. You know, if you name multiple beneficiaries, spell out how you want the money divided. Just be specific. Take the time to do it. Second, name guardians for minor beneficiaries and minor children that can't directly inherit significant amounts of money. So designate the financial guardian to set up a trust and leave detailed instructions for how that money is to be used. You know, if you don't take care of this yourself, the court will do it for you.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to avoid here. So third, let's go ahead and just name names and be exact. You know, don't leave your IRA to that estate that John was just illustrating, and don't create any confusion there for anybody, and just get the Social Security numbers in there as well. And fourth, update your beneficiary designations regularly. A lot of the time people are either in a second marriage and they haven't taken time to really work that out on paper. It doesn't take that long to do this, and it can really save a future headache for the people that we love. And it's just an extension of taking care of the people that we love. And I think that's one of the things that everybody kind of has a goal for, is making sure that they're taking care of these things, so that, you know what, they don't have to worry about it in the future, and it doesn't take that long to do. So update your beneficiary designations with some regularity, or at least review those.
I like that regular advice, because things change over time. There could be a marriage, there could be a divorce, there could be a new child that is born. So many different things can come up.
Thanks for listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. We appreciate you listening. And looking forward to talking to you next week, too.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of this radio station and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. No strategy, product, material, or tool mentioned can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information, products, materials, or tools mentioned should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. This show may be subsidized in whole or in part by a product sponsor or issuer. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group LLC are independent of SagePoint Financial. SagePoint Financial and Brayshaw Financial Group do not provide tax or legal advice. Main office is located at 116 South River Road, Bedford, New Hampshire, 03110, and can be reached at toll-free 855-226-8551.